Hello everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner ready to jump straight into the world of coding, you are in exactly the right place. Today, I'm going to be your incredibly patient tutor, and we're going to walk step by step through your very first coding recipe. We're taking programming right out of the realm of abstract theory and turning it into something you can actually do today. And hey, if you're a complete beginner with zero prior coding experience, take a deep breath. You honestly don't need any. Just stick with me and we'll get through it together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our menu for today's lesson. First, the recipe of coding. Then, writing your first program. Third, labels, boxes, and variables. Moving on to math and mini projects. Then, fixing common beginner mistakes. And finally, your next big challenge.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the recipe of coding.
So before we start blindly mixing our ingredients together, we really need to understand what exactly a program is. It's kind of the fundamental question, right? And honestly, it's the one that might be intimidating some of you right now. The word program just sounds heavy, technical, maybe a bit complex, but I really want to demystify that for you right out of the gate.
I want you to think of a standard cooking recipe. It's got a list of ingredients and a specific set of steps to cook your food, right? Well, a computer program is exactly the same thing. It is literally just a collection of instructions written by a programmer. That's the whole shebang. Comparing coding to following a standard cooking recipe is absolutely the best way to understand it. You give the computer step-by-step instructions and it follows them to perform a task. When you look at it that way, it's an incredibly familiar and logical process.
Moving right along to Section 2, writing your first program.
Now that we know we're basically just writing a recipe, let's set up your Python kitchen and prep your very first dish. To write code, you just need a programming language and a code editor. Here's the simple step-by-step setup to get your environment ready for action. First, we choose Python, mostly because it's one of the easiest, most readable languages for beginners. Second, you open an editor. This could be VS Code, PyCharm, or Replit. Third, you create a new file and save it exactly as hello.py. Fourth, we write our code. And step 5, we run it.
And here it is. This is the moment. Almost every programmer in the world starts with this exact same line of code. Print, open parenthesis, quote, hello world, quote, close parenthesis. Let's break down this ingredient. The word print is a built-in Python function. You can think of a function as a reusable block of code that does one specific job. And the specific job of the print function is simply to display information on your screen. Now notice the text inside the parentheses. It's wrapped in quotation marks because it's a string. That's really just a fancy way programmers say textual data. Basically, anything you place inside those parentheses and quotes gets served up visibly right on your screen.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really important concept called sequential execution. If you write multiple print statements, Python reads and runs your code instructions exactly in order, from top to bottom. Just like reading step 1, step 2, and step 3 of a recipe, the computer doesn't skip around. Understanding this execution flow is absolutely crucial because most programs work in a strict sequence of steps.
All right, Section 3, labels, boxes, and variables.
Okay, so we know how to print instructions, but now we need to organize our ingredients so we can actually reuse them throughout our entire coding recipe. Let me introduce you to variables. I want you to picture variables in your mind as labeled storage boxes. You use these boxes to safely keep your different types of information fresh and organized. For example, you could have a box labeled name and store the text string Shubham inside it. Then you might have another box labeled age and store the whole integer number 25 inside that one. Notice that variables can hold completely different types of data, strings for text, integers for whole numbers. This is what allows your programs to store and reuse information so easily.
And once you have that data safely stored in a variable, you can combine it with other ingredients. Take a look at this code. Print, open parentheses, quote, hello, space, quote, plus name. By combining a text string, the hello part, with our variable name, we just created a customized, personalized greeting. The code is literally reacting to the stored data. If you try replacing the value in the name variable with your own name, the output changes automatically. How cool is that?
Next up, Section 4, math and mini projects.
So we've got text sorted out. Now let's expand our skills by letting the computer do the heavy lifting with some basic calculations. Because, let's face it, computers are fundamentally excellent at math. They perform automatic calculations effortlessly. Here's a simple menu of basic mathematical operations you can use. You've got the plus sign for addition, the minus sign for subtraction, the asterisk for multiplication, and the / for division. You just plug these operators right between your variables, like num1 plus num2, and the computer instantly hands you the result. These simple operators really form the foundation of countless software applications.
Now, let's mix all our newly learned ingredients into a real, functional mini-project. Imagine a student introduction program. First, it stores data. So you're creating variables for name, age, and city. Then, it processes that information. Finally, it uses print statements to display a visible, customized output. Now, I know it might seem a bit simple right now, but trust me, this is a real program using the exact same architecture that massive, complex applications use every single day.
All right, let's talk about the bumps in the road. Section 5, Fixing Common Beginner Mistakes.
As you start experimenting, you are going to encounter errors. It's a guarantee. But let's normalize mistakes right now by treating syntax errors just like forgetting a pinch of salt in a recipe. It happens. For example, observe what happens if we type print, open parentheses, hello world, close parentheses, but without the quotation marks. Because those quotes are missing, the computer is totally lost. It doesn't understand that this is supposed to be textual data. So, rule of thumb, always ensure your string is safely wrapped in those quotes.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we handle parentheses. If you write the word print, leave a space, and then type hello in quotes, well, modern Python is going to throw an error at you. The print function absolutely requires parentheses so it knows exactly what it's supposed to act upon. Always double-check that you're using the correct syntax by wrapping your text in both quotes and parentheses.
And here is another incredibly common typing error. Notice what happens if you type print hello, but with a capital P. Python is case-sensitive. To the computer, a capital P and a lowercase p are completely different things. There's no connection. A simple typo like this breaks the code entirely, which really emphasizes that computers follow instructions exactly as written. They don't guess what you meant. They just read what's there.
Okay, we've made it to Section 6, your next big challenge.
We've gone over the recipe, we've set up our coding kitchen, and we know exactly how to fix our little cooking mistakes. But before you go off and write a program completely on your own, I want you to use this clear checklist to verify your first program success. Step 1. Check for typos, keeping a close eye on capital letters. Step 2. Verify your quotes are securely around your strings. Step 3. Ensure your parentheses properly enclose that text. Step 4. Run the code. And Step 5. Confirm the results are exactly what you intended.
So, here is your final practice challenge. I highly encourage you to hit pause on this explainer and actively experiment in your editor. Here's what I want you to try. First, print your name and city. Second, create a variable for your age. Third, add two numbers together. And fourth, create a personalized greeting message. Seriously, attempting these tasks on your own is absolutely the fastest way to solidify your skills.
So, what does this all mean? Why does this very first simple program even matter? Because every single advanced software system out there starts with simple instructions just like the ones you wrote today. These small steps scale massively. They scale into complex video games, incredibly secure banking systems, and even cutting-edge artificial intelligence. Learning these basic recipes correctly today creates an incredibly strong foundation for literally everything that follows in your coding journey.
You have officially learned what a program is, how to use print functions, create variables, store data, and perform calculations. You have the power to write instructions and actually make the computer react to you. So, now that you have the basic recipe, what will you choose to build next? Keep experimenting, change up those values, and practice as much as you can. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy coding!
If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, like this video, comment your favorite programming language, subscribe to Future Break Coder, because many exciting coding and futuristic tech videos are coming soon.